So we'll start. So we're still continuing the stored procedures. Other day we've seen about looping and other stuff. Now we're going to look at how do we loop through the records in the table by using the cursor. Okay. Now basically I have a table called my table 1. This is the table and it's got 8 records. I know I can use select statement to read all the 8 records, but say I want to read record by record in this table. I would like to loop through each and every record in this table, then I can use the cursor statement. So when you deal with cursor, you basically deal with all this: open, fetch and close cursor. You're opening the cursor on the table by using open statement. When you want to read the records through the cursor, then we use a fetch. And once you finish reading data through the cursor, we have to close the cursor out. So you'll be always having 3 statements when you deal with cursor. One is open, fetch and close. So when you want to read the data from the table, you open the cursor on the select statement for a particular select statement. Then based on the cursor, you go about reading those entries from the table by using fetch. Once you finish reading through the cursor, then you go about closing it. Then we have different functions with the cursor. One is closed, not found and row count. So is closed will basically tell you whether the cursor is open or not. So what we can do is before opening the cursor, I can have an if condition or if statement written saying is cursor closed. If it is already closed, then I would open it. If it is already open, I don't try to open. So this is like a boolean which tells you whether its cursor is closed or not. Then we have another function called not found. Say once you open the cursor, you fetch the records from the table, right? Let's say you're fetching record by record. Say there are 8 records, right? So for 8 fetches, it does fetch the record. But on the 9th fetch, it is not able to fetch the record. Then the cursor will say set as not found as true because it is not able to read any more records. So I can use this function cursor not found to identify that, okay, it is not able to read any more records. Yeah. Then by using row count of the cursor, this is not for finding out number of rows. This is to find out how many rows have been read. Say you're using fetch cursor to read record by record. Let's say after 4 fetches, then you need to know how many fetches were done. Then the row count will tell you how many rows were read already through the cursor. Yeah. See what I'm doing? I'm going to loop through. We're saying just declare the cursor, declare procedure with this name as begin and end. So within the begin, this is all declarations I'm doing. This is all declarations. So here, it's all about normal variable looping variables I've declared. Here I'm declaring a cursor. Declare cursor, and I want the cursor name as A, cursor underscore A, for this select statement. Select star from so and so table. So it's going to read all the 8 records which will be represented by your cursor. Then what I'm want, there is no function which gives me count of the records. So what I'm doing, I'm explicitly using saying select count of star from this into this variable from this table. Same select statement I'm executing here, which will give me the count of records. Then once I get the count, I'm saying open the cursor. So before opening, I can do like say if cursor is closed, then perform the open. Then once I open the cursor, then I need to loop through this. So I'm going to use the loop statement here. Loop, and then I'll break it once I finish reading. So now if you understand this, see, this is where a loop starts in. Usually your LV count is 0 and LV row count is filled with the number of rows. So initially the variable LV row count would be 8. Now LV count 0 is less than 8. Yes. If it is less than, then I'm going to say fetch the cursor into these variables. Since my select statement is going to return me two columns, employee ID and employee name, I am collecting those two columns into two local variables, v underscore employee number and v underscore so fetch the cursor and put them into local variables. And once the data comes into local variables, you should be able to process them any way you want. I'm not doing anything, I'm just printing that local variables. Now just print the employee number and name from dummy. And then I'm just incrementing this LV count by 1. Yeah. And again loop starts, again it's say 1 is less than 8, again it fetches the second record, again gets in like this. Now once it reaches 8 here, LV count is less than 8, so it doesn't satisfy the condition, so it gets into the else part. Then I'm closing the cursor out. Once I finish reading, I'm closing the cursor out. Then I'm just breaking out of the loop. So I want to discontinue the loop, so I'm using the keyword break here. So this is it. Now let's debug this and see, then you'll understand. So I've created the procedure with cursor. So insert your breakpoints, then get into the debug mode, then create your debug configuration. You can say new here, or you can just take this. Now let's debug this procedure working with cursor loop. Does this procedure need any input parameters? I don't need to pass in. If it needs, I need to pass in the values here. Say start debug. Now let's observe these parameters here. Let's observe this. So it starts with after the declaration statement. Now initially we have declared these variables LV count, LV row count, LV employee name and employee number. And I've initialized this LV count with 0 while declaration. Say LV count integer where it is 0 here. So I have a variable which has been assigned with 0 here. Now if you look at the other variables, LV row count and V underscore employee number and V underscore employee name, all this, I've just declared them, so they just hold in null. So there's no value being assigned to these variables yet. Yeah. So now cursor is at this statement where I'm saying select count of star into this LV row count from this step. It won't read the count of records and collect this value into this LV row count. So now LV row count is null. After this statement has been executed, you should see the count of records into this LV row count. So how many were there in the table? There are 8 records. So now it shows LV row count holds the value as 8, which is nothing but your number of records. So the count result is collected into this variable now. Okay. So now look at this. It says cursor not found, and what does it say? Oh, no, okay. Look at this. cursor underscore a function is open. It says value is 0. It's like boolean with 0 and 1. Now still I have not yet opened the cursor. Now once I execute this statement open cursor, that should tell me, look at this function, is open gives me value as 1. So what you can do is, before writing this open cursor, I can say if cursor A is open is equal to 0, then open it. Because if the cursor is already open and if you try to open it again, you get an error. So to control that exceptions, you can say if cursor is open equal to 0, only then open my cursor. Because if it is already open, I don't have to open it again. So I can do that way. Yeah. Now I'm going to start with the looping. Now I'm all set to run the loop. Now LV count, the looping count is 0 now, and the row count is 8. So I need to run the loop for 8 times. So what I'll do, I'll take this LV count and keep incrementing this LV count until it becomes 8. So that it keeps running in. And every time I get in, I keep fetching a next record. So that's it. Now let's get into the loop. Now I'm executing the statement now. Now it says content LV count. Now what is LV count now? It is 0. And what is row count now? It is 8. So does it satisfy this? Is LV count, which is 0, is less than LV row count, which is 8? Yes. So then if it satisfies this condition, it gets inside this if condition. Say fetch the cursor into these variables. I told you row count is still 0 and found is 0. Now, when you execute the fetch statement, how do you make sure whether the cursor is able to read the record or not? How do you make sure whether the cursor is able to read the record or not? By using this function found. Now, found is 0, right? Now, as soon as you execute the fetch statement, fetch will fetch the first record from the table from the cursor. And if it is able to fetch successfully, it's like psi sub bar c. If the cursor is able to fetch the record successfully, then your found will be 0. It will be 1. Now, let's see. Execute. Now, what does this found say? Is 1. Yeah. Good. Means fetch was able to read one record successfully. Then here you say next thing is row count. How many records did you fetch it from the table till now? 1, right? So the row count says 1. When you fetch next record, again it says 2. When you fetch third record, it keeps incrementing the row count as and when we fetch. The row count is not the number of records in the cursor. It is the number of records you have fetched it. Now whatever I've collected, now look at this. Now the local variables v underscore employee number is filled with 1 and name is filled with Pratap. Now so when I say fetch the cursor into this local variable, the local variables have been filled in and I'm just printing that value, so nothing else. Then LV count, now it is 0. I would like to increment saying it, I've read one record, so I'm saying LV count equal to LV count plus 1. This is the assignment operator. So now LV count becomes 1 here. Again the loop starts. Now LV count is, now again it gets into the condition. Now LV count is 1, yeah, and 1 is less than 8. So then again what it does, again it gets inside the loop. Again start, so your LV count is 1 is less than 8, so it gets into the loop. Fetches the next cursor or next record into this variables employee number and name. But now the employee number and name is with the old record. So when I say fetch, it fetches a second record 2 and says Srikar. Yeah. And then I'm just printing the same value. Now look at this row count here. Since we have done the fetch for the second record, the row count becomes 2 bus. Then let's execute it again. Then LV count equal to, again I'm going to increment that LV count. So LV count becomes 2. Again loop starts in. Again LV count 2 is less than 8. Gets inside the loop, fetches the next record again into the local variable 3 and Naveen. Prints that value and then LV count equal to LV count plus 1. So again I'm going to increment that LV count, again gets, it keeps running through the loop. Let it run through. See, when I see this row count as 6, it does mean that I've read 6 records from the fetch bus. Okay, fetch was done for 6 times. And now it is 7. Now look at the next loop. look at this time now. So is LV count less than your row count? No, so it does not satisfy this condition, gets out of it. And now we're going to get into the else part where I'm saying once I finish reading all the records, I'm just saying close the cursor and then break out of the loop. Now, once the cursor is when the cursor is closed, it says open is 0, then row count is 0, everything is back reset to 0. The cursor is closed, yeah. And then it comes out of the loop. So this is how you can use a cursor statement and loop through the records in a table. Yeah, good. This is how you can work out with the cursor statement by using the loop and end loop. With an infinite loop, we can keep fetching the records, and once you finish reading, you can explicitly break out of the loop. Yeah, this is one way of looping through the records in a table. Yeah, generally for Hana, you don't have to really go with the cursor where you read record by record. You can execute, read large result sets at a time. See, by using select, you can read large result sets at a time. But still, there could be some logic where you have to get into each record by record and manipulate to get the output. Then you can use this cursor out, but not preferred. Yeah. But if the requirement is such a way you got to go through record by record, then you have to. And next way of using a cursor and looping through a simple one, instead of having loop and end loop, we can also use for loop. We can associate the cursor along with the for loop to go through the records also. I don't think I have STS dim customer. So again, I'm going to have a table with this. I'm going to have a table like this with STS dim customer 1, where it's got a lot of records, and I would like to delete certain records. I know we can just do with normal delete statement, but I just want to do a looping through those records. Yeah. Yes, I'm saying look at this. Now here I don't have to get count or anything. It's very simple to loop through with using for. Yeah. Okay. I've just declared a cursor as C1 for the select statement here. So create procedure so and so as begin and declare cursor as C1 for what I'm doing. I'm just declaring cursor for this select statement. Then I'm saying for R1 explicitly this cursor is declared as for R1 as C1 do and end for within this for loop, and it runs through the loop for every record of this cursor. I don't have to write fetch. I say if R1 dot customer ID Hello. So I'm just using this for loop for looping to the cursor. Let's say for R1 as C1 and do for loop. And within this loop, we can refer to each of the record by using the cursor name. You can say like work area. You can say R1 dot customer ID or R1 dot all the column values. You can say R1 dot customer name, R1 dot country ID. Any column can be referred by using cursor name. You can say for if R1 dot customer ID is less than 5, then I'm just deleting all the records. I'm just deleting the record of this from this table where my customer ID is R1 dot customer ID. So I'm referring to any of this name. So I can always refer to any of this column by using this cursor name, yeah, and then end if goes like almost like a work area referring to the fields. So if I just execute this statement, and it's going to delete all those records. Yeah. See, all the customers which are less than 5 have been deleted. Like this, it's not that in the stored procedure you can only write select statements. You can also write any of the SQL statements. But only thing is when you're doing deleting or edit, updating or upsets, in the syntax of the procedure, you cannot use the statement reads SQL data as. Only when the procedure is only reading the records, then it should have the statement reads SQL database. Yeah. So this way you can work with cursors. Then dynamic SQL, I think if you can get this understanding. So sometimes you'll have a requirement. But please log in your with original names, okay? Otherwise, I'll be disconnecting you people. If you just say PS all this, I'll be please log in with your original names, yeah. Preferably while logging, give your mail ID, yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're creating this procedure. See, we're looking at dynamic SQL here. So dynamically, I would like to formulate this statement, SQL statement, and execute it within the procedure bus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now this. See here, I'm just declared a variable called LV underscore SQL. It's going to be a variable where I'm going to hold in the SQL statement into it. Now I know this is very basic, but yeah. So I'm just having, I'm considering the select statement as a string here. Select star from my table 1. Yeah. And assigning that as a string to this variable. Now this variable LVSQL holds the complete SQL statement what I have, which needs to get executed. Then I say execute immediate and this value of this variable. Execute immediate the value of this variable. So this variable will hold the complete SQL statement, which could be formatted dynamically. Yeah. Say execute, and basically when I call this procedure, it is supposed to read me all those records from this my table. So like this, by using this keyword execute immediately or function execute immediately, we can go with dynamic SQL, where you're going to formulate the SQL statement, assign it to the variable, then execute it. Okay.
Sir, for this, this is very simple one. For select statement, do we need to have procedure and cursors?
I didn't understand. What is it? What is it?
I agree. This is very simple example.
Mm-hmm.
For this requirement, do we need to go for procedure, which is
No, 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 no.
dynamic?
See, my intention is to show you that how you see. Suppose you want to execute some SQL statement, which you would like to
Uh-huh.
form it dynamically. Form it as if you're concatenate as if you're formulating as a string. Assign it to this variable and then execute it. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to do any manipulations, can you work with dynamic procedure? Dynamic XQ. Cursors.
Dynamic cursors in the sense.
This execute immediate SQL command, right? Command.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that command, it's only for select statements,
No,
or
no, no, no. It
if you
can
want to delete or anything, any statement.
it can go with update, insert, upsert. All this can be done. Yeah. I'll show you one more example
Oh,
to understand with that.
okay, okay.
Sir, I have one question in this example, sir.
One sec. In this, you have question in this or different topic?
In that example, yeah, right here, yeah.
Sorry. Tell me. Yeah. Yeah.
Sir, here LV underscore SQL equal to select star from my table. That statement itself is storing the table data into that
No,
variable
no, no, no.
LV underscore SQL.
No, no, no. If I do this way, if I remove the single quotes, then it is a SQL statement getting assigned to this table. Yeah. But
Okay.
when I put that as single quotes, it is referred as a string. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Next one. Look at this now. What I've done is I'm just trying. We have okay. Next one. I've got a procedure. Yeah. I've got a procedure where I've got an input parameter where I'm going to pass in the table. See, I just want to declare a procedure where which just takes in a table, any table name I pass in, and it would read data for this table and then gives me the result. Yeah. Say I would say create procedure so and so, and I've declared an input parameter of length varchar 20. But don't share your link with your friends. Please see, it's disturbing the class unnecessarily. Yeah, this is your variable name and varchar, and default schema is your schema name as begin and end. Okay. So what I've done is I'm using this into statement now. Using a concatenate function saying select star space from space is fixed. Then this is a variable content table name. So I'm concatenating this part of the string and with the table name, so it actually formulates completely a select star from so and so table and collects the complete SQL statement into this variable. Then I'm execute immediate this table, this variable. So now if I call this procedure with this table, it gives me employee and name. If I call with this table with this, I think it's dim customer one. If I call with other table, it gets me with this. But see, waiting for name, I'm going to disconnect until you specify your name. Okay, sorry. Now this is where you're going to get this list like this. You can make your SQL statement dynamic here. Okay. This is one way of doing it.
Sir, could you please repeat it once again? When you're putting the select star from in course, does it mean that it is taking the content of this
No,
table?
no, no. It's a string. String. Say, for example, if you want to read from some table, you will say what? Select star from which table you want to read. Let's say my table one.
My table one.
Let's say this is how you write it. Suppose if you want to read from differently, if you want to read from this table, then you will write it as what? Select star from, yeah, this is how it is.
Yes.
So now if you see, was please do not share the link with your friends, but please see it is లింక్ వాళ్ళకి పోయిందంటే మీరే పంపించినట్లే మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్ you are only sharing, please take care. See now select star from this table, okay? So now this part of this is dynamic, it has to change, yeah, for me, this part of it. So what I'll do, I'll try to formulate a variable which always have select star from space. This is one string, yeah. If I put in single quotes, it becomes a string, comma, then some variable which gives me table name.
Okay.
So now this table name, I've given select space star space from space, yeah, till here it is formed. Now this rest of the part, the table name is a variable for me, which is the content of this variable. So I'm saying concatenate this part of the string and this part of the string and make it as one and assign the complete string. So this complete string, like select star from some table, you see this, there is a difference here.
Got it. It is just we are passing the name of the table dynamically into the variable.
Exactly. Now this is how the string is formulated here and assigned to this variable which is getting executed. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, sir. Could you please just go to the last example? Yeah, this one. What did we mean here?
Here I just put a simple one. Here even the table name was fixed here. I'm just saying.
Okay, you did not declare the variable. You passed it directly.
Exactly. Straight away I took the fixed table name. I wanted.
Okay. Thank you.
Sir, in one example you're using to, and in the other example you're doing the equal to. Is there a difference in that, or just two different ways of doing the same thing? When you
yeah. Only thing is, I'm using a concatenate statement, right? I can't say something like say v1 equal to like this, because I'm using concatenate statement. Whatever the returns from the concatenate, I need to collect in. So concatenate string 1, string 2 into that variable. I need to say into this variable. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Because I was using the concatenate function, I'm just said into, yeah. So I've got 9 cubic again. I've got another simple one again. For me, the table name is fixed, but the value of the variable is dynamically changing out. I don't have to use the variable dynamic SQL, but just to make you understand again, I've got a string select star from table where this field is everything fixed greater than or equal to, but the what value is dynamically coming in. So I'm just taking that, dynamically forming a SQL and then running this out here. Suppose if I don't have tried it for this scenario, I don't have to dynamic SQL, but I can just to show you less than 3 shows less than 3. If I pass in the parameter as 6, it shows me it's less than 6. Yeah. So you can formulate any complex statement to execute that in the background like that. Next example to make you understand about the result view. If you remember, in the entire syntax, when you look at the complete syntax of the stored procedure, we could understand pretty much the language, security, the reads SQL data and all this stuff. But we also had an option called with result view. Yeah. See, I've got a procedure with this naming working with procedure result view. I've got output. I just took some output parameter here. But I think if you write this name, everyone understands it. Out I tab. So I've got variable declared I tab, same as my table one. I've not used a schema name here because I said default schema is 9 cubics. By default, it understands that you need an output parameter I tab, same as what the my table one definition. So the structure of my table one and the I tab one would be same. I'm saying reads SQL data. So this procedure is going to just read the data from the database. Only it's going to have a select statements. So I would say I tab is equal to. So I can just print this result from I tab here, or I can return. Since you have a stored procedure which is returning a table type output parameter, since you have a procedure which is returning table type output parameter, we can project the result of this procedure as a result view, which is not, this is the name of the result view in double. Every time whenever you're referring any identifier, any object name, you put in double quotes, and if you're referring to string, single quotes. Okay, yeah, with result view so and so, then what happens? It executes this procedure and collects the result of the select into this temporary table. The data what is being projected as this temporary table I tab will be projected as this column view results. So when I activate this procedure, it is going to create this column view and then give you to see the data. Very, very important. Whenever you have a procedure which is returning table type output parameter, we can use a syntax of the procedure to project the results of the procedure as a column view by using the syntax with result view as the column view name. Yeah. Now within the begin and end, you would have I tab and you're going to just fill the table. Now as soon as you fill the table in the body, the content of the table, temporary table, will be projected as this column view. So we can use a syntax with result view, which will be projecting the column view of the procedure only when we are returning a table type output parameter. Very, very, very important. So I'm just activating this. Now there are once I've activated this procedure, two things you should observe. One is I'll have the procedure created working with procedure result view. I have the procedure created. Apart from the procedures, it also creates a column view for you, which is result view 01. So once I have the procedure and the column view created, two ways I can call this out. One way is, as usual, I can just say call your procedure name. Since I just have only one output, I can just question mark. It gives me results. The one way of calling it. Another way of calling it is you can just read the data from column view. When I try to read the data of column view, it is showing the same results of my procedure, because when I go with column view, in turn it executes the procedure and gives me the result. So look at the definition of this column view. It says column view based on this procedure name. So whenever I try to read data from this column view, in the backend it executes the stored procedure and gives you the results. So it's like you can just say right click and open content, or is as good as writing a select statement, right? I can say select star from this result view. Sorry.
Sir, what is the purpose of that statement, reads SQL data?
1 second. You're asking me this one? Reads SQL. What is the purpose of this, you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. With the help of reads SQL data, you're explicitly specifying the system that your procedure is just going to read your database, will not do any insert or update or deletes. So when you do this, whenever there is a procedure which only reads in, there are not extra checks are done while doing runtime. But if I have a procedure which is going to do inserts or disturb the database, there will be a lot of checks or a lot of control on the procedure to when it is getting executed.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Since the procedure which does not have reads SQL data might disturb your database, there will be a lot of extra checks on it or precautions, or it controls that procedure a lot. It does not give you a free hand for the procedure. Yeah. Now you understood about this one, right? So you're clear on this, right, everyone? This is clear. So what? But the point is now the question is why should I do this? Why should I project this result as a column view? So in the new BO or IDT, if you're building universe in the business objects reporting tool, whenever you want to do reporting, first you have to build the semantic layer on the right, which is universe. So you got to build a semantic layer, which is the universe for you, and then do reporting. But in the new IDT, you don't have the flexibility of calling the stored procedure. In the old universe, UNX, you had a concept of calling procedure, but now with the new IDT universe, you cannot call the stored procedures directly there. So what you can do is, we can create a procedure which can provide the result as a column view, and use this column view into the procedure bus. Yeah, that is one option. So if I go to my universe, if I go to my IDT tool, so I say some. Normally when you want to do this, you basically create a, I already have a connection to this, and I'm just creating a data. I just want to create a data foundation. Select your connection. So when you see this connection from Hana, if I go to this schema 9QX SQL, I am able to use all my database tables. Apart from my database tables, can I use this column view also, result view 01, and then do rip. Actually, when I try to fire this data here, when I say show table values, it is reading from Hana by triggering a procedure bus. So can I use, so whenever we have certain requirement where you would like to have a complex logic, then project the results of this complex logic into the BO reporting. Then you can implement a stored procedure and project the result as a column view and provide the column view for, use the column view for reporting this. This is one option of doing it. Okay, very, very important concept. Next, very, very important.
Sir, a small doubt.
Let me finish this, then we'll discuss. Yeah, this one, because both are related. So I think your doubt might be solved with this. Yeah. Now look at this. Now in this case, slightly I have a different slightly. So I've got a procedure which takes in some input which is taking some input parameter as ID, and then it is returning some table called tab new something, which is same like my table. default schema reads, and I'm going to project this result as this result view. I'm going to, since I'm outputting a table type output parameter, I'm projecting the result as a result view, okay, as begin and end generally. Now within the body, what I'm doing is I'm just saying select star from this table where employee ID is greater than or equal to the value what is in. So if I pass in as 3, it only gives me greater than 3. If I pass in 5, it only gives me greater than 5, right? So that's the procedure. Now execute this. Now how do you call this procedure? You will say call this procedure here. So I pass in with 3, then I collect the output. So it shows me greater than or equal to 3. Okay. If you pass in 5, it shows me greater 5 or greater than 5. Okay. So, but let's say now, does it also create a column view for you? Yes. Apart from the procedure, so I can also call the column view, right click, and say try to see the content. It gives me an error now. Okay. I'll tell you what is that error. Now, if I try to see the definition, it says the definition is by for triggering this procedure bus. Okay, that is fine. But if I try to see the data of this column view, it gives me an error saying variable required. Look at this ID. What does it mean? See, you have a column view created from the procedure bus. Now, when you're trying to see the column view, what does it do? It actually executes your stored procedure and gives you the result of the procedure as a table type, or it projects that as a table, right? Or column view. So when I try to see the content of this column view, it is executing the procedure, but to execute that procedure, we need to pass a value to this input parameter as ID bus, because without that input parameter, procedure cannot get executed, right? So in these kind of scenarios, I cannot do a normal select on this column view. So while doing a select, I need to pass a value to this parameter bus. Very, very important. We call that as placeholders. Look at this. Say select star from this column view. When you want to pass the parameters, you say with parameters placeholder. Now what is the parameter name? ID, and the value is 3. Okay. Then close it. This is how you specify. Suppose if you have multiple input parameters, it says comma, then keep saying placeholder, placeholder. You'll have so many placeholders you get. Now there's only one, I'm okay. Saying select this and say execute. So that gives me 3. Suppose if I say select with placeholder ID passed as 5, then it gives me only greater than 5. Right? Okay. So in this case, how will I use this in Hana bus? Yeah? How will I use this column view in Hana? Because it's like, it's not a straightforward column view, right? So what I'll do, I'll just say use this. Since you use a derived table concept, then place your view. Let's say like 5. Say validate. No semicolon. Just say okay. Then when I try to see the data, it is basically some syntax. And this is fine, but this okay. But now here I'm fixing as 5, right? If you can make it dynamic, saying by using @prompt function, you can make it dynamic. You can say @prompt and say enter value something. You can put. And there's some syntax you got to specify it, and so when it's a prompt, it fires a selection screen. You enter some value, and that value is passed on to my input parameter, and it executes in there. Yeah. So like this, you can also play with input parameter with column views and projected with the select statement. Now tell me your doubt. Someone had some doubt, right, before this? Clear? Okay.
The result view new 99 will be for the session that we are working on, because only when the procedure is triggered it gets its meaning, right?
No, 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 no. So it is not for this session. Even if I close this out, still the column view is global. Column view is global, boss. Yeah. Column view is global. So it is not. If it is specific to session, how would I?
Because for example, if you create this, if you run this procedure today, and tomorrow we come and we can still see this view, and we can run this view giving the input that we need.
Data physical in it. Whenever I try to read data from this view or perform a select on this view, internet executes data from it executes the procedure and gives me the result. Yeah. Okay.
Muted. Unmuted.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, there is some network problem, but see the column view is always virtual bus, and it is global.
Okay.
So yeah, you can close this session, or it's like normal any other table global. And
Right.
whenever you fire it, but internally it always executes a procedure and gives you the results always. Yeah.
Okay, so today if I do this, run this procedure,
Yeah.
and tomorrow I can still use this view anywhere.
But view, if you run the procedure now, and if you want to use a
Yeah.
view, every time you trigger the view, it will execute the procedure and give you always.
Okay, great.
It's not that you run the procedure and store the results in column view. No, every time you trigger the view, column view triggers the procedure again. Yeah.
Okay.
My doubt is, sir, here we are using select statement, right?
Yeah.
Sir?
Yeah. Tell me.
Here we are reading from the database, so we entered a read SQL statement, right?
Yeah.
So suppose we do insert statements, then what we need to enter, sir? Read SQL statement or insert SQL?
If you want to insert data, then you use insert statement. If you want to update, you'll say update. But when you're inserting and updating, you're not projecting any result set. You're not returning any table. See, you can only use with result view only when your procedure is returning out table type output parameter only. Otherwise, no. Yeah. If you're doing an insert or delete operations, you're not returning any data. When you're not returning any data of type table, then you cannot go with the syntax with result view. Then there cannot be a column view at all. Yeah.
Sir,
Sir, one doubt here.
One more topic I have. Let me finish, then you can ask doubts. Let me finish. The small topic, arrays concept. Okay. So as we know, arrays basically which can hold some set of values, like the C language, all this, we have arrays, right, which can hold some set of values. Now look at this now. This is how you, so basically you need to know how to declare an array, how to read the value from array. Then there are two functions with arrays. One is unnest array and aggregate array. Then I think you can work out with any arrays, right? Simple. First example, I'm just declaring an array. This is how you declare. Declare variable name of any data type you want, and then use a keyword array. Then this becomes an array variable. And whenever you have an array, you basically refer to the value with an index. Since it is going to hold multiple rows, so you say array of 1 or array of 2, second index, third. First index represents first row of an array. Second index represents second row or third row, whatever it is. So I'm just saying array of first index, I'm assigning it as something like say 21. I'm just printing that value from the first index. So I'm saying array of the index always. And if you call this procedure, this will just give me the 21, which is in the first index. Now if you want to assign multiple values, you can initialize it. Now look at this. I have a procedure as begin. I'm just declaring a variable like this. Declare variable int array. I would like to assign set of values. So array of say 31, I would say 32, and then say. So I'm assigning not one value. I'm assigning set of values. So I say array of. So then what happens? The 31 goes and sits in the first index, and 32 goes and sits in the second index of my array variable, and 33 sits in the third index. Now when I say select array of second index, it refers to which value? The second value, and which gives you like this. You can assign set of values to array also. So this is going to print me 32. The next one, function unnesting array. Okay. So when you say unnesting of arrays, say I have an array with some set of values, and I would like to collect the content of this array into temporary table, because I cannot perform a select statements on those arrays, right? So what I want, I would like to collect the content of this arrays into a temporary table, then to perform those select statements on those temporary table. So then we use this function unnest. Look at this. I've got an array variable declared with say values like say 41 and then say 42, 43. So I've got an array with some set of values 41, 42, 43. So I'm saying unnest this array and collect the result into table 1. So table 1 would be a temporary table. So when I say unnest, like open up the array and collect the results into temporary table. And I'm saying select star from this table. So this will just, this is how by using unnesting of arrays function, we can collect this array values into a temporary table type. So when I basically get this out, it prints me all the values of this table, 41, 42, 43. Then I have another function, array aggregate. Okay, array aggregate is another function. This is quite opposite. So I have a table, and I would like to collect the column, because table will have multiple columns, right? So I would like to collect the values of one column into an array, then I use array aggregator. So I got procedure, so begin, and then I've declared some variable of type arrays. I'm saying tab 1 equal to what? Select star from this table. So this, I have dim customer 1. So tab 1 will be a temporary table which will be assigned with all the columns of this table. Now from it's got all the columns, but from this table I would like to take refer only customer ID column and then put it to this array variable. So I'll say array aggregate of this array, from this array this column, because from this table this column goes. Because temporary table can hold multiple columns. From this temporary table, which column values do you want to refer? So I'll say array aggregate of this table which is in this column and then assign this to this variable. Yeah. So select so and so variable, but because it's going to give a lot of set of rows, and I just want to read the value at the 25th index of this array, and then from dummy. Okay, I know I deleted customers 1 to 4. So when I said 25th, it should be something around 29 or something. Yes, because the customers were 1 to 30, so lots. But I deleted first 4 records with some procedure, so there's only 5th record starting out. So that's how we can use arrays. Always refer the array with an index, array of index, and unnesting of array can be used when you want to collect the array values into temporary table. Array aggregate function can be used when you want to collect the table column values into an array bus. Yeah, tell me I'm done for today. Now ask your doubts. Yeah, anything? Yeah.
This customer ID
Sir,
should it be created every time, like temporary table?
Sir, I can't hear you. Sorry, I can't hear you. Hello?
Sir, this customer ID temporary table should be created in every procedure?
Customer ID, this one?
Yeah, the temporary table, should it be created every time if you want a temporary table? Or is it earlier?
Now let me do one thing. Now you'll understand.
And the question is if tab 1 should be declared.
No, if you're using this tab within the body, then it does not need any declaration. No? If you're returning,
so how does system will understand this tab and is going to be table?
yes, when table 1 is assigned with the select. So based on the result set structure, the tab 1 is declared. So I'll tell you, look at this now. Customer ID is 0 rows, right? Now, so there's no tab 1 at all. See, now as soon as I execute this statement, automatically there's a table tab 1 is created with how many rows was? 117. You can see those table rows. Right click and say open data preview. You'll get to see at the bottom. You can see those table rows in the temporary tab 1 tables. You can see, but you cannot edit. You cannot temporary table.
Yeah. Sir, how the system will understand this tab 1 is going to be table?
Because that is been assigned with the select statement. See, the right operand here is a select, which is giving a result set. Result set means it will have multiple rows and columns. So whenever it is result set, the left operand has to be a table. By default, it explicitly declares it as a table type. Yeah.
So I can give in the place of table 1 XYZ something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But only thing is you should write that code as XYZ.
Yeah. Thank you.
You can write as XYZ and take it. No problem. Any name. Yeah.
So for this, we need not to declare as a variable.
No, if you are using the table within the body of the procedure, it does not need any declaration. But if you're exporting this table parameter to some other procedure, or if you're returning it out, then it needs a declaration.
Right.
Sir, in this example, if you want to print two columns, here we are printing only customer ID, right?
See, the person
So
who
in
is
that case,
speaking,
what should...
is it Raghavendra?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Chappu.
Sir, if you had to print two columns, now it is only printing the customer ID. So if you had to print two columns, what should be the syntax, sir?
Sorry, you got two?
The only one column customer ID print చేస్తాం v underscore customer ID equal to array aggregation.
Yeah.
So if I have to print two columns from the table, so what should be the syntax?
Then it should be one array would be customer ID. You should declare one more array saying v underscore customer name. Then you should say v underscore customer is, because array cannot hold multiple columns. Array will only hold a single column.
One column.
One column, yeah.
Yes.
So you will say v underscore customer name assign array aggregate of tab1 dot customer name.
Yeah, okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
So whatever we are giving the result to the view, that view is globally declared, so anyone can access that result view, result, right?
Yes. As long as they have authorizes to that schema, they can access that column. Yeah.
Okay, for each user we have different schemas, right? So one schema created one view. So if you're creating same view in another schema, it will not accept, right? System will take care of that one, right?
No. See, same column view name is possible in multiple schemas because schema name is different, possible, yeah? I can have a column view name saying view name in my schema. There can be another schema with same view name as view1, possible, because the schema name is different, yeah?
Okay, fine, yeah.
Always
Sir,
object is specific to schema name. Yeah, what is the next question?
Yeah, there is a doubt in IDT. So since we cannot access stored procedure in IDT, so that column view or result view we are declaring it inside the stored procedure. So how it is possible to access that?
We are declaring a column view where the project, if you have a procedure which is returning table type, by using the syntax of saying with result view, you are projecting the result as a column view. And this column view can be consumed in BO. Yeah. Now what's your question?
Yeah. Since we are specifying these column views or results views inside the stored procedures, so how it is possible to access in IDT?
How it is, and SAP has given the provision for accessing.
So it is inside the stored procedure, right?
So what? Even if it is declared inside within the procedure syntax, it is creating this column view which I can see it as a database object, right? Here, look at this result view 9, result view. I'm able to see that as another database object as column view. So I can consume that in universe. Yeah.
Right. Can I understand this? The output of the stored procedure is going to be accessed by IDT?
Yeah. Procedure results can be accessed by IDT through column view.
Right. Oh, right. Thank you.
If at column view is possible, only procedure is written in table type parameter. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Fine.
Sir, we have used the placeholder, right?
Sorry, sir, I could not hear anyone.
Can you tell me the difference between procedure and stored procedure?
Both are same. We can use any word. Stored procedure, both are same. Okay.
So can we use syntax create stored procedure also?
Stored procedure is actually vocabulary they use. Okay.
Yeah. Sir, we have used the placeholder concept, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you are trying to open the content of this result view new 99, it was giving an error saying that ID 99 is, ID in the result view is not.
No, actually, in this case,
not here, sir. This one I understood, but the other way of I was a bit confused. Why it was to see the content of the result in column view, do we have to use the placeholder?
This one?
Exactly, this is what I mean. Yeah. Now we are not able to see here because we were not passed any value of the ID.
Exactly.
Am I right?
Exactly.
So now we passed ID through placeholder.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when we passed ID value through placeholder, will we be able to view the content of this result view?
Will you be able? Yes,
column
yes, yes. I showed you, no? I showed you here. Yeah.
Okay.
1 second. I'm able to try to select like this, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just normal select I'm writing. Yeah.
It says that, yeah, 9 qubits.
This is what, right? You're referring?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, was then.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sir.
Sir,
Yeah, yeah. Tell me, tell me.
Tomorrow, 1 hour class or 2 hours?
Man, if you plan nothing happens, let's see. Let's see how does it go. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mostly we'll extend. Yeah. Okay.
hello.
Yeah.
Sir, you explained initially cursor, right? So can you explain once again? So when which scenario we are going to use for
Best.
touch cursor and
Let's say look at this. Now you want to read data from a table. So to read data from
okay.
a table, which statement do you use? Select statement, right?
Select statement. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Let's say my table has got 100 records, and if you say select
Okay.
a star from the table, it is going to read all the 100 records for it, right? I don't want to read
Okay.
all
Right.
the 100 records. I would like to read record by record, record by record. Then I use cursor statement. That's all.
Okay.
Then we'll have fetch open cursor. First we have to open the cursor. Then we have to keep fetching the record, fetch the cursor until we read the records. Then once you finish with the reading, you have to close the cursor. That's all. Yeah. బాస్
Sir,
బాస్
last question.
లింక్ అందరికి షేర్ చేద్దండి ప్లీజ్ ప్లీజ్ ఊరు నా క్లాస్
Yeah, that is
తప్ప వేరే ఉండదు అంటే డబ్బులు మీరు కట్టినారు అందరంటే మీకే లాస్ నాకే అండ్ someone wants to listen without paying money. If you have some financial problem, please call me and talk to me. Don't do like this. Yeah. If you have some financial issues, you're not able
Sir,
to pay fees, please talk to me, boss. Okay. I'll help you. No, nothing wrong in it. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me. Yeah. Any other doubt?
yeah, sir, this is regarding placeholder only. I have one more doubt.
Yeah.
See, for example, our procedure or table have four columns where we are, for example, ID, name, something like that.
Yeah.
So if we want to pass, for example, in four fields, I am only passing two values, and two values I wanted to see pass through the placeholder. In that case, we have to use the placeholder for two values as well.
See, for example, no, in that case, I'll do like this. So you want to say you got multiple input parameters, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It will be like this. This is placeholder 1, comma, okay. Then
Again, one more placeholder with an
exactly.
employee number, something.
The
Like
employee number, something. Yeah. Say something like
so unless we pass this, we will not be able to
no,
view
you're
the
not
column view.
The column view. No, yeah.
The content of the column view.
Exactly, exactly. You can't see the column view until you give, because when you see column view, it has to execute the procedure, right? You can't execute the procedure without passing the input parameter with placeholder.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It's clear now. Thank you.
Yeah, fine. Thank you.
But this is not required when we directly execute the procedure. Even in that case, it is required, right?
Even in that case, you're passing, right? Even if you say call procedure in the parentheses, in the parentheses you specify the parameters, right? You're passing the value, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Be it we are executing column view or we are executing procedure, we need to pass this parameter.
Exactly. Because if procedure is declared such a way that it takes some input in parameter, then we execute
Yes.
on top of it. So either you're triggering procedure through call function or through triggering of column view, you have to pass in the parameter value. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Enough. Bus. We'll see it tomorrow. Thank you.